Good evening. Welcome to Thai PBS English News Service. I'm Subhajang Klinswan. The Meteorological Department is advising that a tropical depression forming in the South China Sea was upgraded to tropical storm Gemi last night. The effects of the storm are yet to be felt here in Thailand. However, the Water and Flood Management Commission, or WFMC, has confirmed their readiness should the storm bring heavy rains to this country. Water and Flood Management Commission head Royonjit Don and his management team are ready to handle the effects of the first storm of the season. The storm is expected to make landfall in Vietnam on Thursday and will hit southern Laos, the northeast and central regions of Thailand on the weekends. Royon is confident that Bangkok will not be severely affected. Water levels around eastern Bangkok have already reduced as the water drains away through the canals. For eastern Thailand, Kabinburi, Sri Mahaphot, Ban Sang districts in Prachinburi province and Ratchaburi, Kanchanaburi provinces will see a second batch of heavy downpours in the middle of next week. The National Disaster Warning Center has stated that the northern, northeast, eastern and central regions of Thailand should be on alert for flooding. Associate Professor Seri Suparathit of Rangsit University's Natural Disaster Study Center says all districts of Bangkok stand a chance of floods as deep as 30 centimeters this weekend. Somchai Baimong, Deputy Director General of the Meteorological Office, confirmed that the Met Office's prediction that this storm will have its most severe effect on Thailand this weekend. But whether or not the wind speed will increase before it hits Thailand remains the million-dollar question. The Met Office did warn that reservoirs in northern and lower north areas must be ready to take on massive amounts of water from the heavy rain. The Correction Department's discovery of hundreds of sandbags inside the sewers of Bangkok has led to accusations flying between the political parties that politics is involved in an attempt, as a Deputy Bangkok governor believes, to discredit the local administration. Thai PBS reporters have also found alleged irregularities after talking to locals in the area. Hidachon Manomai Piboon, Deputy Bangkok Governor, suggests it is unlikely that sandbags of that size would float along the sewers. He suggested that they were probably put there with a motive in mind. The Director General of the Corrections Department, under orders from the Prime Minister to clean out sewers to increase drainage efficiency, told the media that his staff and inmates found hundreds of bags in a sewer in Minburi district. However, Thai PBS investigators found the actual site where the sandbags were found is near the Lam Sali intersection in Bangkapi, not in Minburi district. Locals living in the Lam Sali area, when interviewed by Thai PBS, said they did not see any sandbags as stated in the news. The Deputy Bangkok Governor raised an interesting question, however. Why did the Corrections Department not clear the sewers that the 32 locations specified by the Bangkok Metropolitan Administration, but 7 locations outside the BMA's specification instead? The BMA administrators, backed by the Democrat Party and the ruling Pheu Thai government, have long been accused of not cooperating effectively since their handling of last year's massive floods. Fingers are being pointed in different directions, with opposing parties accusing their counterparts of being responsible for setting the whole thing up to discredit one another, while putting Bangkok residents at risk. Northern and northeastern residents are also preparing for a sharp drop in temperature as the cold season approaches. Locals in Leh province are experiencing heavy mist and preparing for a big drop in average temperatures. The Meteorological Office in Leh is warning local residents and tourists who enjoy trekking in the hills during the cold season. Those tourist favorites like Phu Krading and Phu Ria could experience temperatures as low as 12 to 14 degrees Celsius over the weekend. This, according to the Met Office, is due to strong winds expected to blow across Thailand's north and northeast in a few days. Vulnerable residents, especially the elderly and the very young, are advised to prepare winter clothing in a case of a dramatic drop in temperature. Meanwhile, motorists in Leh province are advised to beware of thick mists or even fog in the early mornings, which will reduce visibility substantially in some places to 100 meters. While the controversial rice pledging scheme remains the talk of the town, tomorrow's front pages will likely be filled with news of prices of chicken eggs. That and more with Kun Bandit Ger Bandit in Economic Focus.
Thank you, Kun Supaton. Before we move on to the eggs issue, the Cabinet has approved a budget of 240 billion baht for a new round of rice pledging for the 2012-2013 harvest, which officially started yesterday. The Commerce Ministry's initial proposal was 405 billion baht. Meanwhile, the Constitution Court has rejected an anti-rice pledging petition signed by academics on the grounds that the detail in the document lacked clarity. In response, the petitioner stated that they will provide the Charter Court with additional documentation in the next couple of days. Academics from the National Institute of Development Administration, or NIDA, confirmed their intention to submit additional documentation to the Constitution Court in the next 1 to 2 days, after a spokesperson for the court announced that the academics' anti-rice pledging suit does not meet the court's requirements. The group of academics insisted that they will not amend the topic of their protest, as they firmly believe that the government's ongoing rice pledging policy is a breach of Article 84(1) of the Constitution. This article stipulates that the government must support a free and fair trading market through free market mechanisms and must not engage in activities that would otherwise be deemed as competing against the private sector. In the event that the Charter Court does not accept the group's petition, the academics said they will not seek any other court's ruling, but will instead attempt to create an understanding of the issue among the public. Those who are directly affected by the pledging scheme might form a group of their own and launch a complaint with the administration court. Amidst mounting opposition, the Cabinet is pressing ahead with its signature policy, with today's approval of a 240 billion baht budget for the pledging of 15 million tons of main crop in a new round of rice pledging for 2012-2013 harvest. The scheme officially began yesterday and will last through September the 16th of next year. The Commerce Ministry's initial proposal was 405 billion baht, which was intended for pledging 15 million tons of main crop and 11 million tons of second crop. However, for now, the Cabinet only approved the budget for the pledging of main crop and will review the funding for the second crop later on in the year. Of the 240 billion baht, the Finance Ministry is to borrow 140 billion, while the remaining 90 billion baht will be generated by the government sale of its rice stockpile. While academics are generally not in favor of the government's rice pledging prices, which are significantly above the market rates, a group of small-scale egg farmers filed a petition with the Prime Minister today, urging the government to solve the problem of low egg prices by supporting the farm price at 2 baht 80 satang per egg. Around 600 disgruntled egg farmers from Suphanburi, Singburi, Rayong and Lopburi provinces rallied near the government house today, seeking the government's help with low egg prices. Over the past 9 months, the group of egg farmers have had to sell their production below cost. They are urging that the government monitors egg prices and sets a suggested farm price at no less than 2 baht 80 satang per egg. Representatives of an association of small hen breeding farmers said that the production cost of one egg stands at 2 baht 60 satang, while the suggested farm price specified by the Internal Trade Department is 2 baht 40 satang. As a result, farmers are suffering a loss of 20 satang per egg. The association is also asking the government to ensure that the importation of laying chickens will not affect market prices of eggs, and proposed that the government sets a suggested price that stays in line with the farmers' actual costs by reviewing the price every month. The House Committee on Constitutional Organization Affairs, State Enterprises, Public Organizations and Fund is requesting that the Energy Ministry resolve the problem of overpriced permits for the construction of solar energy plants being sold on by their original purchasers at steeply increased prices. The committee is also urging the ministry to create clear legislation on the development of solar energy, while the energy regulator is threatening to revoke licenses of those not honoring their contracts. Amnoy Siri Thongsuk, an academic who sits on the House Committee, said that he has received complaints from some private sector operators that the investment in solar energy has come to a halt, as the legislation on solar energy development is unclear, and some permit holders who are not actually using their permits are attempting to profit from genuine developers and investors by selling off their rights at prices as high as 12 million baht per megawatt. Less than 10% of those given concessions to produce solar power are actually using their licenses to generate electricity. The rest are holding on to their documents to profit via resale. Mana Nitikun, an advisor to the Power Utah Group company, revealed that the high number of companies that are not using their quotas, coupled with a shortage of electrical transmission lines, makes the development of new investments hard to achieve. Additionally, the reduction in the subsidy for electricity procurement from 8 baht down to 5 baht 94 satang is making the investment less attractive. Samerjai Suksumed, Deputy Director of the Energy Policy and Planning Office, now says that investors' permits will be confiscated if they're not producing and selling electricity in line with the contract. The confiscated permits will then be reissued under the Alternative Energy Plan, which is to buy a total of 2,000 megawatts of solar power over the next 10 years. And that wraps up Economic Focus. We will now return to Kun Supaton for the rest of tonight's news.
Thank you, Bandit. Chiang Rai police have arrested a man and seized the 50,000 speed pills he allegedly had with him as he was heading to Nonthaburi province. Meanwhile, another 16,000 speed pills were confiscated in Phayao. Both suspects claim that they received the pills from drug dealers in Myanmar. 24-year-old Aya Yebiel of Chiang Rai was arrested as he was traveling on a tour bus heading for Lampang province. Police who boarded the bus for a routine inspection saw Aya acting suspiciously and searched him and his bags located in the luggage bins. 16,000 methamphetamine pills worth 250,000 baht were discovered. Meanwhile, in an unconnected incident, Chiang Rai police arrested 38-year-old Parinya Kringkrat, who was allegedly attempting to smuggle 50,000 methamphetamines and was heading for Nonthaburi province. He was reportedly hired for 100,000 baht to transport the illicit haul. In both cases, the detained suspects claim to have received the speed pills from a drug dealer across the Thai-Myanmar border. And former gold medal Olympic boxer and a retired Muay Thai superstar will once again step into the ring for a fight they claim will further stimulate the Thai boxing fanaticism in Thailand.
Somrak Kamsing, Thailand's first ever gold medal Olympic athlete, is polishing up his Muay Thai moves once again as he's scheduled to fight 51-year-old Muay Thai superstar Yordwan Padet Suwanwichit, a former Muay Thai champion. The two are expected to exchange blows this Thursday at Ratchdamnern boxing ring. Somrak, a former Muay Thai boxer turned Olympic hero and now TV celebrity, says he's not holding back for the retired boxer, who is 11 years his senior. Meanwhile, Yordwan Padet, who once held 6 championship titles at once, says his needs are ready to, quote, thrust into Somrak's guts. This fight is expected to draw a capacity crowd and may even break the record of being the highest money-making match in Muay Thai history. On top of the cash, the promoter of this match says it will also bring back the vigorous atmosphere of Muay Thai. Hugh Adams, ThaiPBS.
Thank you, Hugh, and that's all the time we have for tonight's show. I'm Suwachon Kun Suwan. Good night. Sawasdee krap.